And blessings, everybody. A few days ago, I reached out to you all asking for prayer, and many of you answered. Hundreds of you answered. Thousands of you seen the video. And I can't say thank you enough, because I believe that we should have a space to where we can go ahead and be vulnerable and show that we're not Superman, we're not Superwoman. We can truly call on people that really rock with us to ask for covering, to ask for prayer, right? And that moment just reminded me of Jesus in the garden when he asked for James, Peter, and John to go ahead and pray with him and watch with him for 1 hour. And they couldn't, because their bodies were too weak. And in that moment, that was the moment where Jesus was praying and saying, Father, take this cup from me, if it be your will. In other words, this man was suffering. He didn't want to do what he had to do, but he did it, right? But he was saying, Lord, if it be another way. And he goes back and then he sees Peter, James, and John sleeping, right? And he asks them to wake up. Yo, guys, you guys couldn't keep watching me for 1 hour to pray with me. I'm asking you to pray with me. Pray with me for 1 hour. And he goes back and then he goes to pray again, right? I wonder what would have happened if they would have prayed with him for that 1 hour. I wonder what would have happened if things were to shift. The thing is that he was telling them to pray because temptation is coming. He was telling them to pray because you need a covering. When the temptation arises, when the temptation comes, it can take you out, right? You can fall into temptation. That's why he was telling them to pray, but he was also setting an example for us to be vulnerable as well too. And oftentimes what we do is we don't want to be vulnerable because we're supposed to be a man, or we're supposed to man up and this, that, and the third. But this is the manliest thing that you can actually do, is asking for covering from the people that rock with you, from the people that say that they love you, right? And I believe that agreement brings covering. I'm gonna say that again. I believe that agreement brings covering. It brings strength, right? When we come into agreement with one another, we can move mountains. We can make a shift. That one video was 4 minutes long, but within that 4 minutes, things started to shift and I started to be replenished, right? Be replenished, because at the same time, my flesh will get weak as well too. But when it gets weak, I know that God is strong, and I understand that. But at the same time, it doesn't negate the fact that I still need covering, right? When I get cold, I need covers. When it's hot outside, I need shade, right? And we need that as well too. Why? Because we got to protect this flesh. We got to protect this skin right here. And if we don't have a covering, right, then we expose ourselves to the enemy at the end of the day. I believe that what we are doing is we're building not just a platform, we're building people, we're building a movement. And with you guys coming in and praying with me, thank you for accepting the invitation. And that's what Jesus did. He gave an invitation to pray with him, to build with him, right? And when he gave this invitation, those 3 disciples right there, in that moment, in that time, they were so weak that they failed. But had they been praying, had they been going in, I could only imagine and wonder what could have shifted in that time of history, right? With how they moved after, because at the end of the day, the inevitable was going to happen. Destiny had to be fulfilled. But I wonder what would have happened if they would have prayed with Jesus just for that 1 hour. Amen. The encouragement, everybody, is this, right? When you hear people asking for prayer, keep doing it. Keep praying, keep believing, keep sowing into them, keep covering them, right? Because we need one another. My DMs get filled up all the time with people asking me for prayer, asking me for encouragement and things in that nature, and I willingly give it. Just yesterday, I was with 1,200 men serving in the prison, right? Because those men need covering. You understand? None of us are exempt from that. We all need covering. We have to cover each other. That's why we are the body. That's why we are the church. Amen. I want to encourage you all this week. And I pray that the Lord may his face shine upon you. Amen. May he protect you. May he bring you peace and bring you that peace and bring you joy. Be joyful today. I know it may look crazy. I know it may look wild. I know people are going through it in their own life. But the fact that you guys took time to help me and cover me, right? May the Lord shine his face upon you and bring you peace in Jesus' mighty name. And I pray that you take the encouragement and you move forward today and move forward in such a way that God is going to bless your socks off because of your obedience more than you can ask, think, or imagine. Amen. We're building something here at Unshakable. We're building something here in Unshakable Ministries. Amen. And I believe that God is going to get so much glory about what we're doing. Amen. So I thank you all. Have a glorious week. Let's continue to grind. I'm going to keep these videos coming. I'm going to keep pressing in. I'm going to keep dropping those inspiration bombs, those motivational bombs, that spiritual truth. Amen. And we're going to keep learning, and we're going to keep eating good. I'm going to supply milk for the baby, bread for the adolescent, and meat for the mature. Amen. And we're going to get there, and we're going to grow together in Jesus' mighty name. All right. If you believe in this mission, you believe in what we're doing, in building marriages and building leaders and building the youth, right? And feeding people that really need spiritual food. Amen. Then go ahead and sow a seed. I encourage you to go ahead and hit the link in my bio and join us. And we invite you into what we are doing here at Unshakable Ministries. Amen. And I thank you all, right? And sowing a seed can be anything from something as monetary in finances, or it could be something as in like, share, comment this video. Those are sowing those seeds, and continue to sow seeds of prayer and keep us covered, right? Because the enemy is lurking. The enemy is trying. The enemy, and the last thing I'll say is this: Daniel chapter 7 talks about how the enemy will try to speak against the Most High and drain the saints. And that's what he tries to do. And that's what he tries to do with all of us. He tries to drain the saints, right? No more draining. He tries to wear us down. That's why we keep each other covered. Amen. I love you all. Y'all be blessed in Jesus' mighty name. Let's go. Let's continue to grind. When we change the mind, we change the game. Let's get it.